this is one of those recipes that is just going to be so much fun to make. One of my favorite things to do is to find recipes from my favorite restaurant, menus, things like that, recreate recipes when I get home. So sometimes when I really want a salad, I'll think of my favorite restaurant from back home. I used to live in Savannah, and I used to love to get salads from Basil's. So look that up. So what I would do when I really want one of those salads is I'll pull up their menu, look and see what was in the salad, and recreate that salad. But what's even more fun is when one of my clients goes on vacation and sends me a picture of what they ate and the description for the menu, and I can recreate it. And that's one of these times. So this is a recipe that one of my clients, she went on an anniversary vacation out west, and she sent me the picture and she sent me the menu description. And the menu description says chili relleno, poblano stuffed with rice, guava, queso blanco, pepitas, calabacitas. I didn't take Spanish, so I'm hoping that's correct. Topped with guajillo salsa crema. Once again, I didn't take Spanish. Pomegranate and Cuban black beans. So I'm going to kind of recreate this with ingredients that I can buy here at home and make them completely plant-based. So in one of my earlier recipes, I made a Texas ranch. So I went ahead and made this yesterday. You can see it thickened up, so I'm going to have to add some water, and that will be my queso blanca and my crema. Instead of making two, I'm just going to use this for both. Another thing I'm going to do is make my Pico Guacamole, and I believe there's a recipe for that too, and so I will post the link for that as well if I don't have time to make it while we're doing the video today. So the first thing I need is to get my poblanos ready. So these are nice and big. Whenever I make stuffed poblanos, I usually pick one per person. Another thing that I did ahead of time is I made, instead of using rice, I'm going to use cauliflower rice. Now rice is plant-based. I could have used brown rice, but I decided I'm going to just try it with cauliflower rice. Why not? So you can buy cauliflower rice already frozen, but if you are looking for a more budget-friendly way, I ran cauliflower half of a head through my food processor last night with a shredder blade, you can see, and then I stuck it in the freezer overnight, and now it is thawing out, and so it will be soft enough like a cooked rice. So that is just one of my tips or tricks. So when people eat like a raw food vegan diet, that's a lot of time, that's what they'll do a lot of the times to soften up their food, is they freeze it overnight and then thaw it, and then it's almost like cooked. So this is going to be my rice. Now if you want rice, go ahead and pre-cook your rice. So things that you will need ahead of time will be whatever you're going to use for your queso blanca, your pico dio or your guacamole, whatever you want for that, and your rice or your cauliflower rice already either cooked, you could cook it in a skillet, or frozen and thawed. Okay, so that was what I did ahead of time. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to broil these. I've turned, my oven is on broil, and these are nice and clean. I washed them. They're even a little bit wet. I'm going to stick them in broil while I do the next step. So if you've never done this before, if you have a gas stovetop, you can actually do this over the burners. I don't have gas. I did in my last house. I wish I did, but where I live, it would be very expensive to run gas lines. So I am going to cook this here. So if I were going to use the stovetop to roast my peppers, it's not really roasting, is it? I would turn my burner on. Can you see this? And I would hold my pepper with tongs over the burner to char it and keep turning it to char. So we're going to do the same thing in the oven. In a few minutes, I'm going to use my tongs and flip it over and just make sure that it chars on both sides. And then I'll show you what we're going to do next. So because I wanted to use this, what do you call this? Pan. I'm going to use it to heat up. What do you call it? A hot plate? I'm going to use my hot plate instead of my stove, just so we can both, you can see and I can have room to cook at the same time. So inside our stuffed poblano was, I think it's calabacitas. Someone correct me, let me know how to pronounce that in the comments. And so I looked that up, and that is zucchini. And so I'm going to saute zucchini with onions. Just cut the ends off of the zucchini, and I usually cut it in thirds just to make it a little bit easier to work with. And this is going to be a delicious meal, very nutritious. Let me tell you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to quarter this lengthwise and then cut it almost into triangles. Just run my knife through. I'm just gently sliding my knife. Zucchini is very soft. Making them all about the same size. I'm going to throw those in my pan. My pan is just starting to heat up. So Poblanos are full of antioxidants, and they're very nutritious for us. They do have some capsaicin in them. That is what the, so you know, they're kind of spicy. That's what that heat is. That heat is very good for us. Very wonderful. It's wonderful for the heart. And so we are going to get some wonderful heart benefits from the poblano. Zucchini does have some nutrition. It's not the most nutritious vegetable, but we are going to get some zucchini from there. I'm not peeling it. You don't peel zucchini. What do you call zucchini overseas? Is it courgette, maybe? Someone can tell me that in the comments too. So, I'm going to finish cubing that. And I think it would be delicious with some onion. So I'm going to add some onion. And while I'm chopping my onion, I'm going to go ahead and add some to my bowl to make my guacamole. So with the onion, I'm going to cut both of these ends off. I'm going to save the ends to put in my freezer bag. Remember, that is my free vegetable broth. So for now, I'm just going to seal it in here while I am cooking. And then I'll throw that in my freezer bag to make my vegetable broth. So I'm going to cut my onion in half. I only want about a quarter of an onion in my guacamole, so let me pull that to the side and chop that really quick first. You can hear the zucchini starting to sizzle. At least I hope you can. I never know with this microphone what's going to happen. Alright, so that, let me run the knife through it one more time for my guacamole. So I'm using a red onion here. I don't know why I call them red onion. They look purple, right? Anyway, lots of nutrition. This is part of the allium family. Also good for the heart, for repairing damage to DNA. It's also very high in lots of different nutrients, antioxidants, antibacterial, antifungal. You know what? I'm just going to slice it. I think it would be better sliced. Since I didn't eat this, I'm not exactly sure what form everything was in. So I have the sliced red onion, almost the whole red onion. I just threw some into our guacamole. And once again, I'm just gently sliding my knife through. I push forward. Make sure I have little strips. I'm just cutting them. You can see I didn't cut it in half exactly, so I just want to make sure those are going to fall apart when I cook them. Okay. When you scrape the cutting board, make sure you use the back of the knife so you don't dull your blade. You want a sharp knife when you are cooking. If it's dull, your knife is much more likely to slide and get cut. You'll get cut. Okay, so let's saute those. So I'm not using oil. I don't like to cook with oils. Oils should not be heated in most cases. There are some oils that are safe to heat. I just prefer to save those extra calories for something else. So I do have some water here. I'm going to add a little bit of water. I still want it to brown, not boil. And so just a little bit of water. So the onions are going to make my eyes water. They're making me cry. Okay, so our recipe called for guava. And guava is something that I cannot buy here locally. Guava tastes very similar to pear. It has a very light sweetness. So I'm going to use a pear. I don't want the skin. What? I never say that. I always say keep the skin because there's so much nutrition in the skin. And normally I would, but because I'm recreating this recipe, I'm going to peel it just to make sure it doesn't have any tough skin in the insides. I just think that might be a little weird. So I'm just going to peel that really quickly. You can see I'm not very good at peeling because I don't like to peel skins. Alright, let me get this out of my way. not even using all of the pear. I'm really not very good at peeling. There we go. Turn that down a little bit. Curious what that sounds like on the microphone. Hopefully you hear me over it. So pears are another one of those fruits that they're good for us. They have lots of wonderful fiber. But as far as nutrients go, they're not the most nutrient dense. They are wonderful for the urinary tract though. So I'm just going to cut this into small pieces. These are between 1/4 and 1/2 of an inch. And I'm going to add them in here just to soften them. This is going to give us some sweetness. So we have the sweet, we have the spicy. We're going to have some pumpkin seeds, which will be crunchy. So we were getting all the different textures and flavors. I can only imagine what this tasted like in the restaurant. If you would like for me to recreate a recipe, please share, because this is so much fun for me. I love doing it. Have the seeds here. Okay. Those are softening up. So that's going to cook. And then I'm going to add my cauliflower rice and my seasonings. And I have no idea what it tasted like there as far as seasonings go. So I'm going to just use my regular recipes, regular spices that I like to use when I cook a Tex-Mex type of deal. So I love smoked paprika, just to give you that smoky flavor. Oregano, I just feel like that always needs to be in there. Cumin, also another smoky flavor. This would be great. A little bit of salt, onion, garlic, and chili powder. So I could have put some fresh garlic in here. That probably would have been a good idea. Garlic is so good for us. I'm not quite sure why I didn't do that. So when you make this at home, maybe add a garlic clove. So, one thing about the hot plate is it does kind of, the temperature, it'll like cut off and cut back on. Not quite as steady as my stove. So while I'm waiting on that to cook, I will work on my guacamole. So I have my avocado. This one's huge. I'm guessing that the pit's going to be pretty huge too. So I'm using a different knife than my regular knife, just because I'm on camera and I don't want to have to stop and go wash the slime off of that knife. Ooh, looks pretty good. Have a little bit of a brown spot there. I'm going to cut it in half. Did you even see what I did? So I put my knife in and rolled the avocado around my knife and then twisted to open it up. Oh, I apologize for not showing you or talking about it while I did it. Now I'm just peeling the skin off so I get that dark green color, because that's where most of our nutrition is. I'm going to do that on both sides. It's fine to leave the brown in there. It's not attractive, but it's not going to be harmful. But it came off of the skin, so I'm going to just leave it off. Now I'm going to work around this other side and keep it down so I don't cut my fingers. Remove that pit. See, that's a pretty big pit. Avocado is wonderful for us as well. Very high in nutrition, very high in fiber. So people are afraid to eat avocados because they are high in fat, and they are, but it is a fat that is really good for the heart. So don't be afraid to eat avocados. They're also very high in fiber, and so that helps to balance out any of the fat in there. So I will choose an avocado over avocado oil. Avocado oil is going to have some wonderful nutrients in it. However, it is also zero fiber. So you get all of these calories and condensed calories because it's all processed without the fiber. So I'd much rather have the avocado. And I love the creamy taste as well, especially in guacamole. All right, so I want to make sure I get all of that beautiful green color. And if you want, you can always just fast forward if you've already made your guacamole. I am just chopping it. I like it nice and chunky. I call this a Pico Guacamole because it's going to be ingredients that we use to make a pico de gallo with the ingredients we use to make our guacamole. Alright, I'm going to step away to wash my hands and I will be right back. Okay, I also got a paper towel so I can wipe the avocado off of my cutting board. I could go wash it, but this is all going in the same pot all together, and so I'm not too concerned about it. I just didn't want it to be slippery. Our zucchini, it would cook a little faster on my stovetop. It is starting to brown. Let me check our poblanos and see how they look. They are definitely charred on the top, so I'm going to turn them. And they will be ready in a few minutes. Okay, these are still cooking, not quite brown. While that's going, I will chop my tomato. Tomatoes are very high in lycopene, especially good for prostate health, for those of you with a prostate. Also good for the heart and eye health. Okay, when it sticks to the pan, that tells me it's time to start adding a little bit of water. Unless it is starting to brown, it's not browning. I'm going to let it brown a little bit more before I add any water. You can see I'm getting a little bit of color on here. I'm going to juice my lime and chop my cilantro. So I wanted to show you, in my cilantro, what do we do when we have cilantro with different leaves? How do we know what to throw out? So any that are discolored or spotted, toss that out. Any that may be a little on the slimy side, toss that out. And with cilantro, it's okay to eat the stems. I need a juicer for the lime. Alright. Our zucchini and onion smells fabulous. I'm going to add some water. Then I'm going to throw in my cauliflower. Now, if you have rice, make sure your rice is already cooked. If your cauliflower has not been frozen and thawed, you can throw it in now and it will cook in here. This is just going to be a little bit faster being all thawed out. So I'm going to throw it in. This is a half of the head of cauliflower for the three of us. Put that over here. Still a little cold, so I'm going to let that heat through. I'm going to add a can of drained black beans. These are organic black beans, Simple Truth Organic. I usually count on a half a cup of black beans per person. There's three of us, so 1 can is 1.5 cups. So that would be perfect for the three of us. Let me check our poblanos. I'm going to put them in this glass bowl and then cover it to steam, so to make the peels easy to come off. So in there, they look like they are nice and soft and charred, almost falling apart. Hopefully I didn't put them in there for too long. We'll find out. So here's what they look like. They are charred. I'm going to cover them with plastic, and I could also cover them with I could cover them with anything, actually. I could even cover them with a plate. That might be a little better, right? We don't want plastic or aluminum touching our food, so let's just do a plate. That way they will steam for a few minutes, and then we'll be able to get the peels off. So while that is steaming for the peels, let's add some spices. So I am going to use a full teaspoon of paprika. I like a lot of spice. You could always just use your favorite taco seasoning. Make sure there's no funny ingredients. Always read ingredients. So I'm going to put in a full teaspoon of paprika, a full teaspoon of cumin, because I want the real smoky flavor. I want a half a teaspoon of oregano. I want a half a teaspoon of salt. You can always add salt later. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit of salt to my guacamole too while I'm here. That's about a quarter of a teaspoon of salt on the guacamole. Half a teaspoon of onion. Half a teaspoon of garlic. Once again, you don't have to do all of this. Just buy your favorite product. Just make sure it's clean. Oh, and I'm going to go for a tablespoon, which is 3 teaspoons of chili powder. Hopefully my poblanos aren't too spicy, because this chili powder is pretty spicy. Okay, stir that all up. Now in the description from the menu, they had roasted pepitas in the filling and the black beans on top. Well, I'm switching it out. I'm putting the black beans on the inside, and I'm going to put the pepitas on the outside. So pepitas are pumpkin seeds, and I love pumpkin seeds. So I'll back up for a second. So these spices, cumin is wonderful for all sorts of things. So anytime, if you like cumin, add it to your dishes. Cumin, paprika. Paprika is also wonderful for the heart. It's a part of the pepper family. Let's see. What else? The garlic and onion are both alliums, which means that they are antifungal and help with DNA damage. Oregano is fabulous, antibacterial, antifungal, full of antioxidants. Now this oregano, I'm a little fishy, so I just bought this because my oregano plants don't look so great. So can you see the color of this oregano? I just bought it. This is organic oregano. It is like a yellow-brown color. Well, my oregano at home is green, and when I dry my oregano, it is green. So the only time it turns brown like this is when it gets old or if it's in sunlight. And so that tells me this is probably pretty old, or it's just been exposed to too much heat or sunlight. So when you buy herbs, look for green. I actually didn't purchase this. I would look for green. Okay, our filling looks and smells fabulous. My eyes are a little burning there. I'm going to turn this off and let it cool and check our poblano, see if I can get the skins off. Not quite yet. I will finish my guacamole while I'll let that sit. Add the juice of a lime. See what that looks like, and then I may add another lime. Lime is very high in vitamin C, as well as the tomatoes, and vitamin C is also wonderful for anti-aging, full of antioxidants, and immune health. And last for the guacamole will be cilantro. I'm going to cut, we can eat the stems, but I'm still going to cut the longer end of the stems off. So the stems can kind of get stuck in your teeth, right? I don't want that. It's really windy outside, and I keep hearing things hit the window. So cilantro is fabulous for us. It is wonderful for helping with detoxing the body, wonderful for the liver, for your liver health. very high in vitamin C and nutrients as well. So add cilantro if you like it. I know for some people it tastes like soap. I used to be one of those people. I did not like cilantro at all, and I have grown to like it. And so you can learn to like foods. All right, one more little stem, and then I am just going to run my knife through them. A little bit of, it's a funny looking piece there. And I call this the rock and roll. You can see my knife, the whole knife never lifts up. I go onto the tip, slide forward, tip, slide forward. And I'm going to do the same thing the other way. Sometimes I use my hand on top, especially if I am mincing garlic, just to help keep control of the knife. Add my cilantro. I did not bring a little spoon, so let me grab a spoon to stir this, and then we're going to finish the poblano. There we go. Our guacamole is going to go on top. And so the recipe or the menu description, let's look at it again. Poblano stuffed with rice, that's our cauliflower. Guava, that's our pear. Queso blanca, that's our Tex-Mex ranch, which is tagged below. Papitas, which we're going to put on top. I have raw papitas, but we are going to toast them while everything's cooking. Onions are getting me. Calabacitas, if I'm saying that correctly, is the zucchini. Topped with the salsa, which we're going to use our Pico Guacamole. Theirs was a cream, so it's really more like a sour cream, but this will be like a sour cream. Pomegranate, which I did leave pomegranates off, but I could have added pomegranates. And Cuban black beans. So Cuban black beans usually are black beans cooked with cumin. Cuban are cooked with cumin, and so we have cumin in there with our black beans. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. Let's look on the poblanos. I'm going to move my cutting board over here out of our way. I will need another knife. Here is our first poblano. I'm going to hold it by the stem because it is still really hot. A lot of times what I will use is a paper towel. Let me grab one. And I can usually not on camera, just peel the skin right off. So the end automatically came off. Let's see, there we go. Get the skin to peel right off. And I know I'm always saying eat the skin, and here I am, 2 ingredients in here. I am peeling them. But it's just going to give us a better mouthfeel when we eat this stuffed poblano. I'm so excited about this. It's going to be delicious. It's like we went out to eat and we're at home. So, I did make some things ahead of time. The quote-unquote rice and the Mexi Ranch, or whatever you want to make for your queso. So those are made ahead of time unless you have somewhere you can purchase those. Or you can make the Pico Guacamole while it's all cooking. As a matter of fact, I could have made the cheese sauce while we're going to stick this in the oven. And so while it's in the oven, I could have made the cheese sauce. Which reminds me, I didn't get a pan to put these in. Actually, there's probably one below me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is gently cut. I've stuck my knife in one side. I don't want to cut all the way through because I really just want a pocket. I want to get these seeds out. Can you see how hot that is? Whew. Hot, hot, hot. So don't want to burn myself. I'm going to use this teaspoon to scoop those seeds. Can you see? I hope you can see. So I'm removing the seeds. It's fine for them to be in there, but they're going to be a little spicy, and it might be a weird texture. It might be kind of weird to eat the seeds in there. So I can kind of open up the poblano. Hopefully I'm working quickly enough that the other ones will be as easy to peel as well. Okay, it's still full of a lot of juice. Don't burn yourself when you are working on the Poblanos. Alright, this one looks like it might be easy to peel as well. It smells so good. I love roasted peppers. So if you just want roasted red bell peppers on a salad or a sandwich or a wrap, you can use the same method we just used. Just stick it under broil till it chars on one side and turn it until it's charred on all of your sides. Steam it for a few minutes in a bowl. Just cover your bowl with something, plastic or aluminum, or a plate like we just did. Peel it and then remove the seeds. I'm gonna cut a pocket in here again. Open it gently, trying not to burn my fingers. The stem did not, I could leave the stem in there if I could cut it. I want to get those seeds out. Once again, they're edible. It's just for, it would be weird to eat those seeds. Using the a tablespoon or teaspoon helps you remove some of the juices in there too, so it's not too watery. Probably throwing lots of nutrients out, removing the seeds. You know what? I'm just going to cut that stem out. All right, and the last one, number 3. Oh, I tore it open, so that will be where our slit is. It'll look prettier on the plate if I can leave that stem on there, but I have such a hard time getting the seeds out. If you know a better trick on getting the seeds, actually that might work right there. I think I got it. I did. Yay, this one I'll leave the stem on. It'll look pretty. Okay, finished getting those seeds. Alright, the last thing I need is my pan to cook these in. I don't like to use oil, so I'm not going to oil it in. I'm going to put a piece of parchment just to keep it from sticking. So let's see if all of these will fit in here. There's 1. There's 2. And 3. Perfect. Now I'm going to fill it with our filling. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to eat this. Now, you could always add some salsa to the mixture here if you wanted. Put the salsa in with the cauliflower rice mixture. That would be good. I don't have a really good salsa that I like right now, so I'm not going to do that. And I have my delicious Pico Guacamole to put on top. Lots of flavor in here between the Poblano and all of our spices. Okay. And one more. Oh, I found some seeds I missed. So let me just add a little bit more filling. Alright, so the filling is in there. Show you what these look like before I stick them in the oven. Dry my hands. So here's what our stuffed Poblanos look like. I'm going to stick these in the oven at 375 for 25 to 30 minutes. So while those are cooking, that would be a great time to make the cheese sauce if you haven't already made it. I'll check back in with you when these are finished. Okay, I cleaned up my area a little bit. This is how much of the filling was left over. And I could have put this in the middle of the peppers. Sometimes I'll do that, especially with the red stuffed peppers. Whenever I do those, I'll put this kind of in the middle of the peppers, just for someone to have as an extra side. And this would be great later with lunches and things like that. So let me get our peppers out of the oven. They've been in there for about 25 minutes. Close the oven really quick. So you can see what they look like. Let me turn it around. Pretty juicy, delicious. I'm gonna let them cool for a minute while we toast the pepitas. I also need to thin out my sauce. So I want it to be, there we go. If I had made it while they're cooking, it would be a little bit runnier. But, so this is kind of like a thick sour cream. You know what, that may be soft enough. What do you think? And to drizzle on top. I think I'll leave it. It smells so good, I love that. All right, so let's toast the pepitas. These are just raw pumpkin seeds. You can see they're green. I mean, you can buy them in the shell and use those too if you want. I have this already heated, and I just wiped out our pan from earlier. Now, with nuts and seeds, we only want them to cook for a few minutes because those oils can go rancid pretty quickly. We don't want to cook it too high of a heat or for too long. For zinc and iron, it's great if you eat them with a vitamin C rich food, which peppers are. These are cooked, so the vitamin C has pretty much been cooked out. So if we eat Pico de Gallo with fresh tomatoes and lime juice, we're getting lots of vitamin C in there. So that will help our body to absorb those nutrients from the pumpkin seeds. So my pan is still heating up. The pepitas are, let's do this on high heat. I can kind of feel the heat coming from the pan. I'm not touching the pan. I'm just feeling the heat. While I'm doing that, I will fix a plate. Here is what our scraps. Was hiding them in there. There we go. I'm going to try this spoon to see if I can use it. I can touch the parchment paper, but I don't want to touch the pan because that was 375 degrees. So here we go. I can use the stem maybe. See if I can scoop this out. Ooh, it's a big pepper. Don't know if I can get it out all in one piece. Make it look pretty for you. Wipe my pan a little bit here. Pizzas. Just when you start to smell them, that's hot enough. We're just getting those oils to be released from the peppers. That is all I want to do. I'm going to turn that off. Remove this from heat. I'm going to put my Tex-Mex ranch on here. You can hear the pumpkin seeds popping. A little bit of my cheese sauce on. Could always do more. Put my Pico Guacamole here. Here's a little bit of cilantro. That would be a nice little touch. I don't want to put metal on this pan. I don't want to scratch my pan. Put my pepitas right on top. Oh, I'm so excited. Here is our stuffed Poblano, our Chile Relleno. Chile Relleno. Chile Relleno. Chile Relleno. A Poblano stuffed with, oh, I'm reading the wrong description. The description from the restaurant. Poblano stuffed with rice. We're using cauliflower rice. Guava, we use the pear. Queso Blanca, our Tex-Mex ranch. Pepitas. Calabacitas. Topped with guajillo. I didn't say that right. Salsa crema. We're using the Pico Guacamole instead. Pomegranate, I left off, and Cuban black beans. So here we go. I hope you made this. Please send me a menu item you'd like for me to recreate. Make sure you include the description of the menu item so I can see what's in there. But this is so much fun. I love to do this. I would love to recreate a dish for you. Like and share my videos, comment, let me know what else you would like to learn and see, and enjoy!